I look at self-care as becoming and being resilient. It's a part of resiliency. Hi again, guys. This is Raquel of Your Purpose and Business. And in the previous videos, I've talked about mindset, getting unstuck, how it is that you can get unstuck, and also, being organized or developing organization in your life, becoming more structured. And I also alluded at the end of the previous video about self-care, because self-care is important. It is super important, because with self-care, I look at self-care as becoming and being resilient. It's a part of resiliency, because you cannot expect, let me use like a car, for instance. You cannot expect to have a vehicle, and just driving it. You're putting miles on it and miles on it and miles on it, and you're not taking care of it. You're not taking it for its, oil cleaning or oil change, I should say. You're not taking it for its servicing. You are not checking the brakes. You're not checking your tires. You're not checking your AC, your heating system. You're just not maintaining it. And it's the same with your own life as human beings. We cannot expect to just keep going and going and going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny, because unlike the Energizer Bunny and that Duracell advertisement that has been out there, if you're a millennial, this commercial with Duracell, you cannot expect to keep going and going and going. You're not the Energizer Bunny, and you're not Duracell, and you will burn out. You will burn out. And what burnout looks like is when you are stressed to capacity, you are super anxious, you cannot sleep at night, you are constantly in fight or flight mode. Fight or flight mode means that, you're always on the edge, for lack of a better word. You're always on the edge. You just can't seem to relax. Perhaps you have tension in your shoulders. You get headaches. You just feel exhausted all the time. I mean, burnout shows up in different ways, right? So those are just some of the symptoms. But if you're not, really focused and in tune with all of these things, it can start affect your health in many different ways, right? And so self-care is self-love, and it's super important to be resilient and effective in the life that you're saying that you want to live for yourself, right? I have a book, Ideal Career, Ideal Life, Strategies to Live Your Life Fearlessly. Here it is. Anytime I get the opportunity, I'm going to plug it in, get it on Amazon, or get it on my website, raquelwalters.com/book. And essentially this book is about if you're being stuck in a career or a job, and you're wanting to make changes or to pivot. This is the book for you, because it will give you clarity around the tools and the skills that you need in order to do so. And it also talks about how it is that you can face on challenges, whether that by implementing what I call the chameleon effect, or using the samurai and its sword, and practicing self-care, but also practicing or using knowledge and wisdom in order to elevate on to the next level, where that is by either getting a promotion, changing jobs, starting a business, and just overall, implementing things that's going to help you to become the human being and the individual that you want, so that you can live out your life fearlessly, because ultimately that's what we all want, right? An ideal lifestyle that is suited for us, happiness, financial security, a job or a career that we can be proud of, and relationships and community. That's ultimately what we all want, and love and happiness, right? And so Self-care is super important, and for you there are certain examples that I can tell you that has worked for me, and I hope that it will work for you, and it has worked for my clients. Is I've talked about structure in the previous video, and organization is key, because you need to, in order to live an effective life, you need to know that, you know, life is never a one, all or nothing, type of deal. It's never all or nothing. And I know I use the example of the car. Like, you have to have a chance, an opportunity within your schedule, whether that be daily or on a weekly basis, where there's downtime for yourself. It doesn't matter how crazy life is getting, you need, even if it's half an hour that you can find, even if it's 15 minutes. 15 minutes might seem like, it's just not enough time, but trust and believe when I tell you, even if it's 15 minutes, that you take back some time for yourself, because as the old saying or adage goes, you cannot give from an empty cup. You kind of have to figure out a way to constantly refuel yourself and replenish yourself. So for me, what self-care looks like, it's different, and my formula changes, and you can figure out your own formula for yourself, but it's really a matter of testing different things and implementing different things based on what you have gathered and pulling from your so-called toolbox. And this is the term that I have taught a lot of my clients: pulling from your toolbox and implementing formulas that works for you. So for me, in the weekday, I strive to walk on my walking pad at least 15 to 30 minutes 5 days a week. One might say that's not enough, but for me, that keeps me accountable so that I can build on top of that. It also helps with my clarity. It helps me with my focus, and it also helps me with my energy levels as well. For me also, I strive and I aim to get minimum 7 hours of sleep per night. I use my watch to track, my Samsung Galaxy watch, to track my sleep levels every single night. So I have metrics. That's the other thing that you've heard me talk about. I have a metric of evaluating, am I getting enough sleep on a nightly and weekly basis, because the sleep is super important for me to not feel low energy the next day, because I need the energy and the focus in order to stay productive, to service my clients, right, and to perform and be productive. The other thing for me is that health wise, I'm also paying attention and being intentional about what I'm eating or what I'm putting in my body, making sure that it's well balanced and nourished. Doesn't mean that I'm perfect with that. I'm still a work in progress with that. But it's helpful. So that's also metrics: tracking my food, tracking my macros. I have a nutritionist, I have a dietitianist, which she's a nutritionist and a dietitianist all in one. I have the gym, I have my Peloton, I have a community of friends and coaches and mentors, and I try my best to set up different people and experts in my life to help me to stay on track as well. I have also, in terms of self-care, put in downtime too, where I can just, watch TV. I can just watch a nice movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime and just laugh. I love African movies. I also love watching YouTube too. I love watching like travel videos and vlogs because those things give me joy. I also like to read. And I like to listen to audiobooks. So one of my goals, and I've been working on that, is to like read physically more, physical books more. But that's also a challenge for me because I do a lot of reading throughout the day for my job. And there's a lot of energy that I give. So for me, listening audio format is a little bit better for me. But I'm trying to read a little bit more. So self-care, as you can see, and I'm doing many different things, additional things, but self-care, as you can see, looks different for everyone. Some people would like to spend time in nature. They'll like to go running. They'll like to go fishing. They like to garden. They like to paint. Self-care looks like, traveling to another country. I have a friend that like every 2 or 3 months, she's gone somewhere, and that gives her joy. That's her form of self-care. And so essentially, what I'm getting to is that you have to find the formula when it comes on to self-care that works for you. Come up with minimum 3 to 5 things that you can do, and you can do them interchangeably at a time, any given time. And some days you may not feel like walking as far as self-care for you, but you may feel that you just need to listen to some music, and that is fine. And then other days you may feel like, no, music is not going to help me, walking is not going to help me. Maybe I need to talk to a friend. Maybe I need to get in a good laugh by watching, a funny video or something of that nature. Maybe that's also another form of self-care for you. That's also going to give you some sort of relief, lower your stress levels, lower your anxiety levels, lower your feelings of overwhelm. So with those 3 examples, that's a part of your formula. And some days you may need 1 or 2 or all 3 of them in order to implement them to feel better in yourself, better in your mood. So essentially, find a formula that works for you when it comes to your self-care. Find the formula that works for you when it comes to your self-care, and implement it whenever you see that you need to. Right? So it doesn't mean that it's only going to be on a Saturday that I'm going to perform self-care. If within the middle of the workday, if you have the chance to perform self-care for 5 to 10 minutes, do so. If it's before work, after work, whatever the case may be, just make sure that you're doing something for yourself to fuel your cup, as well as you are pouring into other people's cup. All right. So hopefully this has helped. Hopefully you have found this valuable. And it reminds me that I set a goal to start implementing yoga again in my life, and I hope that you guys can keep me accountable, because I need to start reapplying yoga again in my life, because I liked how it made me feel, and it's good for stretching, and it's a good form of meditation, and for alignment and all that good jazz. So in talking to you about self-care, I have reminded myself that I remember that I said to myself that I'm going to start doing yoga again. So hopefully again this video has been helpful. Drop in the comment what you're gonna do as far as self-care for yourself, and give me different ideas or things that you're doing as form of self-care for yourself, that is your formula. All right, love and light, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye bye.